Hey, how we doing everybody? Matt Moda here with OddsJam, and in this video, all I'm going to be doing is giving you a little bit of a betting preview for Thanksgiving football. So we got two games, early, afternoon, night game on Thanksgiving tomorrow. So just going to do a little bit of a betting preview, talking about the games, talking about bets that I've already placed for these games and bets that I like that are still available. And then, of course, hitting the positive expected value page, looking for positive EV bets to see if there's anything that I've missed. So let's start with the first game, Bills versus the Lions here. Just pulling up all of these odds on the OddsJam tool for completely free. You can line shop, look at a bunch of sports books, see where they're pricing odds at. Obviously, not really going to touch anything on the money line here. Unless you think the Lions have an upset in them, Bills are pretty heavy favorites. What's more interesting is looking at the point spread here. So as you can see, pretty much every book prices this at Bills minus 9.5, and except for Pinnacle, which looks like they price it at 10. And Pinnacle being the sharpest sports book in the world, it's obviously a big deal. We can see if there's any value here on the Lions plus 10. There was a little bit, but it's been bet up a little too much. I was able to get them at minus 107. There's really no value on the Lions right now at minus 115 is the best odds you're getting them on BetMGM. What I will say is my prediction for this game, I actually really like the Lions to cover 10 points. They're at home. They've won 3 straight games at this point, and their offense started off the season incredible, right? Amazing offense, and they had a little bit of a lull, had some horrible games in a row, and now they've scored 27 or more points in 3 of the past 4 games. So their offense is starting to pick it up a little bit. Obviously, the Bills' defense is incredible, right? I think their DVOA has them as number 1. I think they're the 3rd best rushing, like the 5th best passing, something like that. Really good defense, but I'm worried that Josh Allen's, to me, his elbow still doesn't seem quite right. He had that weird pass to Stephon Diggs in the end zone where it looked like he basically threw his arm out, and it wasn't that long of a pass. His elbow just doesn't seem right to me. So to me, the best play here is getting the Lions plus 10. I think that this is going to be relatively close to what people expect. I will say that. In terms of the total, which is something that I was looking at as well. It's a very high total at 54.5, which is crazy. And I actually like the under in this one as well. Obviously, I am fading the Bills offense, which is probably a huge deal. But you can get some pretty good prices on the total. So BetOnline has it set at 54. Pinnacle has it set at 54 as well, which you can tell right here. And then Bookmaker, another sharp sports book, has it at 54.5, but they juice it towards the under. So the under 54.5 at minus 105 at WinBet, I actually think is a really good price. Pinnacle prices that at minus 116. They price the other side at minus 115. So if you want to remove the VIG to find out truly how valuable a play this is, you just need to go to calculators, no VIG fair odds calculator, and just type in both sides of the line. So it was plus 103, minus 116, puts the true line of this play at about minus 107, making this minus 105 a positive expected value play on WinBet. And if you don't have WinBet, it also makes this points bet a positive expected value play at minus 107. So in terms of my favorite plays and official bets that I've taken, I like the under in this one. I think that the Bills are probably going to run the ball more than they normally do. So Singletary, I like him to have a good game. Lions defense stinks at guarding the run. So I think that's a pretty good play, is getting this to go under 54.5. In terms of positive EV plays, doesn't look like there is any in the Bills versus Lions game. So in terms of predictions, I like the official bet that I have is this under 54.5, minus 105 at WinBet and PointsBet. And then to give my prediction, I also like the Lions to cover the spread as well. Now looking at the Giants versus the Cowboys, another game in which there is a huge favorite here. In this case, obviously the Cowboys are huge favorites, minus 400 on the money line. It's actually not a horrible price. Bookmaker has them at minus 500. BetOnline has them at minus 480. Pinnacle at minus 417. Now, I'm not touching anything at minus 400. You have to win, I think, 80% of your bets to just break even at minus 400. So I'm certainly not touching that, but It's not a horrible price when you compare the rest of the betting markets. What's more interesting to me is this spread again at plus 10. So I know this is the second underdog I'm taking. I kind of like the Giants to cover the spread in this one. So the spread opened up when the markets were first posted for this game, opened up at it was Giants plus 7. It's been bet all the way up to 9.5 or 10, depending on where you look. You can get a pretty good price at Giants plus 10 at minus 113. Now, Pinnacle prices that at minus 112, so you're not getting a positive EV play. This is not an official bet. This is just if I were to give my predictions. I do like the Giants plus 10. Like I said, the spread opened up at Cowboys minus 7. After the events of Sunday, it's been bet all the way up to Cowboys minus 10. Now, I get it. The Cowboys just mopped the absolute floor with the Vikings. They won 30 by 37 points, 40-3, whereas the Giants just lost to the Lions last week. So I get why the spread has been bet up so much, but to me, that's too much of an overreaction, right? We just saw 2 weeks ago the Cowboys blow a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter to the Packers. Now, that might not sound that bad, but we know the Packers stink at this point. The Packers just lost to the Titans on Thursday Night Football last week. Before that, those Packers lost to these Giants. Excuse me, to the Lions. Sorry, not the Giants. They lost to the Lions. So to me, that's too much of an overreaction. I think this will probably end up being a 7-point game, closer to where the line originally was. So I think you're getting a really good price on the Cowboys, Giants plus 10, or even Giants plus 9.5. Now, you're not getting a positive EV play on it, so I'm going to wait till the odds shake out a little bit and see if I can get a better price. So I'm not going to officially lock anything in, but I do like the I like the Giants plus 10 in this one. I'm just going to wait to see if I can get a better price. In terms of the total, now I saw a stat where if you look at every spread that is minus 10 or greater, the under hits in those games the majority of the time. I think it was like 60% of the time on a spread minus 10 or higher that the under hits. I guess that's just because it's expected to be a blowout and there's just less scoring. I'm not necessarily sure the logic behind that, but if you did want to take the under and bet that trend, you can get a pretty decent price on Circa at minus 107. Again, it's not going to be a positive EV play, so not an official bet, but in the second game in a row, I like the underdog to cover. I like the total going under. But there is a positive EV play that I do think is really good, assuming the odds are still up for this one. We were looking at CeeDee Lamb, and the odds changed on that one. So I changed my mind. Not a great, not a good positive EV play on this one anymore. So no official bets in Cowboys versus Giants. Last one, Patriots versus Vikings. Kind of funny symmetry on this one. The Giants just lost to the Lions. The Vikings just lost to the Cowboys. Got smoked by them, so kind of interesting, just with the three teams that are playing. So the Vikings are still favored here, despite the drubbing to Dallas last week. They're still the favorite, minus 130 on the money line, which isn't a terrible price. Looks like across the board, it's at minus 135. So this minus 130 is a pretty good price. In terms of the spread, I've seen it fluctuate from Vikings minus 2 to Vikings minus 3. Looks like it's settled now at Vikings minus 2.5. And I actually do like the Vikings in this one. I think that's a pretty good price. Minus 107 on Circa. Not going to be a positive EV play as of right now, but I do like it. Just to give my official predictions. You try not to overreact to what just happened last week. And I don't necessarily think that the betting markets are. I think that the Vikings being 2.5-point favorites is pretty aptly priced. But I do like the Vikings to bounce back in this one. The Patriots have the best pass defense in the NFL, but they can be beat through on the ground. So I think this is a big Dalvin Cook game. And, you know, as exciting as the Patriots winning on the basically walk-off punt return last week, their offense didn't score a touchdown. Zach Wilson put the Patriots offense, gave them some awesome field position with how bad Zach Wilson is. Patriots didn't score an offensive touchdown, so it's not exactly as though they had an impressive game. So the Vikings are the home team here. I like them to cover on this one. Again, not a positive EV play. The total, I honestly don't have a great feel for, so I'm not really going to give any type of analysis or feedback on the total. Right now, it's 42 according to Bookmaker. It's 42.5 according to every other book, Bet Online and Pinnacle. Really no value either way here. I don't really have any much to say about the total, so I'm not going to just make stuff up. But in terms of positive EV plays, I actually do really like both of these. Kirk Cousins over 21.5 passing completions. Now, I know I mentioned how good the Vikings, the Patriots pass defense is. 21.5 is not a ton of completions. And just look at the value. Pinnacle has it at -129. BetOnline has it at -143, heavily favoring it to go over. Two of the sharpest sports books in the world, heavily favoring it to go over. And you can get it at even money across 4 books: BetMGM, PointsBet, Bet365, and DraftKings. This, to me, I would put a half unit on. I think it's worth half of a unit play on this one. Kirk Cousins over 21.5 completions. And I also like the Mac Jones one as well. Another good mathematically profitable play here. Pinnacle has it at -133. BetOnline has it at -119. We're getting it pretty much for even money, a little bit worse than even money at BetRivers at -103. But then like FanDuel favors it, right? BetOnline favors it. Pinnacle favors it. So DraftKings has it at 50-50, which I don't love, but I do like the fact that BetOnline and Pinnacle both favor it. So I do like this one a lot. So 2 positive expected value player props in the Vikings versus Patriots game. 2 quarterback props, both of their passing completions going over. But that's all I got. That's going to be it for this Thanksgiving betting preview. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any feedback, anything that I missed in my analysis, comment and let me know. Other than that, remember to hop on OddsJam, line shop for yourself, find positive expected value bets, find pricing discrepancies, and that's it. So appreciate you guys watching, and have a good one.